But the ADL always served this purpose, at least after the invention of Israel. Okay? Because it predates the invention of Israel. It was actually a advocacy organization for Jews. It was actually a civil rights organization in its inception. But shortly after Israel's formation, it turned into a institution that defends Israel unconditionally. Podhoretz, another great example of this, responding to Kevin Roberts' take from yesterday. I covered this yesterday, but it bears repeating. This is a real chickens come home to roost moment. John Podhoretz says, my mother was a Heritage Board member for 40 years. You have befouled her, you rancid wretch of an amoeba. Matthew Petty responds, what did you guys think was going to happen? Yeah, John Podhoretz's earlier tweet saying, Trump bombed Iran. He can say Shylock 100 times a day forever as far as I'm concerned. Ooh, Jonathan Greenblatt. Ooh, he finally came out. He got a statement. He got some choice words, man. This is far from the first time Jonathan Greenblatt of the ADL says Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes both have been spewing hatred explicitly or subtly spreading it for years. None of it is acceptable. Jonathan, they were doing it for the past 2 years, bitch. Jonathan, who were you focusing on? Jonathan, why did you burn all of the social and political capital that you had? Why did you drop the notion that you were a civil rights organization, that were presiding over a civil rights organization, Jonathan? What happened? Wake up. You went after the one guy that is a prominent media figure that isn't Jewish, that is anti-Zionist, but is also pro-Jew. That's what you spent the last 2 years on, Jonathan. And I don't think these guys are going to change, by the way. I don't think he's going to change this at all. But it's so crazy. When I noticed that, it blew my mind. Jonathan Greenblatt did not talk about Nick Fuentes one time post-October 7. He literally spent every waking moment that he had plotting out ways to deplatform me, knowing full well that I am not an anti-Semite, by the way. However, credit to Kevin Roberts for stepping forward today and issuing a clear, cogent takedown of the toxic anti-Semitism and venomous racism expressed by fucking Crucial to hear firsthand that Heritage has 0 tolerance for this kind of poison. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Jonathan Greenblatt spent the last 2 years of Israel's genocide actively trying to find new ways to torment anti-Zionists who were not anti-Semitic, including but not limited to literal Jewish anti-Zionist students and Jewish-led anti-Zionist organizations like the Jewish Voice for Peace. That's what he spent his entire time on. This would run around at a time when there was unprecedented growth of unrestrained, unrestricted anti-Semitic sentiment coming from Twitter. That dipshit, that bald dipshit, not once was like, hey, Twitter's gotten a little out of control. Maybe we should turn down the heat. Not once. And he did it so brazenly. And he did it in such a up way that the former president of the ADL had to step in and be like, what the are you doing? He defended Elon Musk sig heiling. He defended Elon Musk sig heiling twice on the biggest stage on the planet at the day of the inauguration. Elon Musk dropped a double sig heil. Jonathan Greenblatt went out and, as a supposed quote unquote defender of Jews, said that was just an awkward gesture. He destroyed. So, I mean, I want to thank Jonathan Greenblatt for this, for the record, not because he has let anti-Semitism manifest and go completely out of control. That is devastating. But at least he basically said the quiet part out loud so much that there are virtually no sincere people, no serious people whatsoever that thinks the ADL stands for anything but the Apartheid Defense League. The ADL exclusively stands with Israel, not with Jews, and certainly not with Jews in America, and it does not give a shit about anti-Semitism. But the ADL always served this purpose, at least after the invention of Israel. Okay? Because it predates the invention of Israel. It was actually a advocacy organization for Jews. It was actually a civil rights organization in its inception. But shortly after Israel's formation, it turned into a institution that defends Israel unconditionally. The ADL in the 90s spied on American citizens at the behest of apartheid South Africa, Israel's ally at the time. Okay? They spied on Jewish anti-apartheid activists. They spied on black student organizers for the apartheid regime in South Africa on U.S. soil. So make no mistake, it was always a corrupt institution, even though it had a decent glossary of anti-Semitic extremism, you know, which they deleted, by the way, after the FBI yelled at them because they found out that the ADL had not such nice things to say about Charlie Kirk in the past. And now the chickens are coming home to roost, Jonathan. I know you got a ton of new donors since October 7th. This is true. While you simultaneously cut the entire research division that was actively trying to combat what remains of bigotry in this goddamn country. That's the other side of it. And the only reason why, obviously, the ADL was doing that, unbeknownst to many of the the bigotry researchers, the extremism researchers were tasked with doing this because this is their job. This is something that they care about. But the reason why the ADL was doing it is so that they have some semblance of legitimacy as a civil rights organization. They've dropped that. They got more funding from big donors, and they just cut their entire research team. Now it is just a straightforward pro-Israel organization and nothing else. Okay? Yeah. They made threads over and over again. They got policy changes made on Twitch. In time of dangerously escalating anti-Semitism, we commend Twitch for changing their policy regarding the use of Zionism as a slur and proxy for hate against Jews. That's what they were busy with. And of course, while that was going on, that was what the ADL was busy with, Nick Fuentes was cooking. He was in the sidelines going, hey, this is my opportunity to shine. When one of the largest streamers on Twitch, Hassan Piker, spends the hours after the Amsterdam pogrom. Remember the Amsterdam pogrom, chat? Idiots. I can't believe it. Yeah, Hamasterdam pogrom. Greenblatt completely destroyed the remaining good reputation the ADL had with the libs over the must tweet. Look at how many likes this has. Yeah. ADL is deeply concerned about the decision of a number of countries to prematurely recognize a Palestinian state. It's like, bro, why? Like, what do you mean? You're an American advocacy group, an American civil rights organization. Why the fuck is this a statement that you're releasing? And now you got the Heritage Foundation defending Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson. Now, obviously, Kevin Roberts probably got yelled at by a lot of big donors. So we had to turn around and be like, oh, my bad. Let's see what he had to say. Yesterday, I said that I abhorred views expressed by Nick Fuentes, and that's the best way to fight anti-Semitic ideas was to challenge them head on. Fuentes replied on X by saying, I don't know exactly what you abhor about my views. Allow me to elaborate because there's plenty to condemn. oh, they got the he got the footnotes. He got the talking points. Let's see. First, the Heritage Foundation and I denounce and stand against this vicious anti-Semitic ideology, his Holocaust denial, and his relentless conspiracy theories that echo the darkest chapters of history. We are disgusted by his musings about rape, women, child marriage, and abusing his potential wife. Fuentes made, these are all real, by the way. Oh, God, it's awesome. Watching right-wing infighting happen like this. Oh, God, that's so good. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, my God. Oh, hell yeah. Fuentes made grotesque analogies to try to cast doubt on the murder of 6 million Jews during the Holocaust and has said, I think the Holocaust is exaggerated. I don't hate Hitler. He did do that. Fuentes called for the death penalty for perfidious Jews and other non-Christians, stating that when we take power, they need to be given the death penalty. Fuentes praised Hitler and in the Tucker interview said he is a Stalin admirer. Brother, how are you going to add that? That's crazy. Like I feel like these two things are on different wavelengths a little bit. That's crazy. He did say that. He said he admires Stalin. He did. I saw it. Fuentes stated, but I do think it's funny that he's like, Nick Fuentes is a Holocaust denier. Also said he admires Stalin. Stalin and Hitler were BFFs before Hitler betrayed Stalin. No, that is liberal nonsense, okay? That's like saying there's more evidence that Stalin and Churchill had the exact same worldview, or not Stalin and Churchill, sorry. Hitler and Churchill had the exact same worldview and were BFFs. Guys, the people, the Nazis, both neo-Nazis and historic Nazis, have always despised communism, socialism, Joseph Stalin, Vladimir Lenin, Trotsky, all forms of socialism, communism, Marxism. Don't be stupid. Do not get duped by silly ass liberal takes, okay? Just as the West did appeasement. No, they like Trotsky now. That's totally different. We're talking about historically, okay? They liked Trotsky after Trotsky ran away. They did not like him when he was the Jewish guy that, by the statements of neo-Nazis, killed 80 to 90 million goyim or whatever they think. Okay, they like Trotsky now because he played a formative role in a lot of anti-communist and anti-USSR sentiment that circulated in the Western world. But that's what the claim is. Neo-Nazis now, and even fascists back then, saw the Bolsheviks as a bunch of revolutionary Jews that were just anti. Okay, or what whiteness is in that time frame. Churchill was actually a bigger fan of Mussolini. He once said, "If I had been born in Italy, I would have been a follower of his from the beginning." I mean, makes sense. Churchill also has some wild ass racialized views too. Yeah. Churchill was a European ethno-supremacist just like Hitler was ideologically, Churchill admitted in an address. Anyway, Fuentes stated that his goal is total Aryan victory and claimed that black people should be in prison for the most part. This is but a sampling of his vile daily rhetoric. Okay. So what's the difference between the Heritage Foundation other than, being anti-Israel, honestly? Like, down to the Holocaust denial, what really is the difference between, like, the average Heritage Foundation researcher that just graduated college and Nick Fuentes? There is no difference, by the way. That's what they know. They recognize that. That's why they're trying to deal with it. Okay? Yeah, the difference between Nick Fuentes and like the average Heritage Foundation guy is one says the quiet part out loud. One is more honest about his disgusting worldview, his repulsive worldview. The other is just trying to, keep things as quiet as possible until they achieve total domination. Or, in Fuentes' words, total Aryan victory, even though Nick Fuentes is, in his own words, Mexican. Anyway, racism and anti-Semitism are not relics of the past. They have blossomed on the left, on university campuses, and grown on the right through figures like Fuentes. Yeah. Racism and anti-Semitism has blossomed on the left, on university campuses. Brother, every other Every other piece that your think tank produces talks about how woke and gay the libtarded college campuses are. Now you're saying racism is manifesting on college campuses because of the left? How is this? This doesn't. You got hit with the woke ray. It feels like he's just. This seems like a different guy. This is not my Heritage Foundation. Let me tell you. Nick Fuentes' anti-Semitism is not complicated, ironic, or misunderstood. It is explicit, dangerous, and demands our unified opposition as conservatives. Fuentes knows exactly what he's doing. He is fomenting Jew hatred, and his incitements are not only immoral and unchristian, they risk violence. Our task is to confront and challenge those poisonous ideas at every turn to prevent them from taking America to a very dark place. Join us, not to cancel, but to guide, challenge, and strengthen the conversation. And be confident, as I am, that our best ideas at the heart of Western civilization will prevail. For those, especially young men, who are enticed by Fuentes and his acolytes online, there is a better way. I look forward to talking about this more in the days to come. Ooh, he got the boss call. Brother, every single Nick Fuentes acolyte is going to read this thing and go, oh, Jews got to you. I'm just letting you know. I'm sure you know as well. That they're going to say that. And you tried to do this delicate tightrope situation, you know, very, very, very tough times for institutional Republicans. You know what I mean? Richard Hanania, the white supremacist turned woke, not woke, but turned libtard. Richard Hanania says, yeah, being anti-Nick and pro-Tucker isn't going to work. They believe basically the same thing about the Jews, and you either embrace or reject both. This dude is still trying to milk fascism.
Press, tell people don't let Nazis take power. Don't ever listen to the press. The press is the enemy of the people. These international organizations like the UN and the WEF, those are also enemies of the people. They exist purely to subvert your goals, to destroy your country, and to advance their own globalist agenda. They don't care.
Yo, that's awesome. Oh, man. Oh, God, he hates the UN. Yeah. No, I'm sure he has a real... I'm sure if you asked him, he could spell out exactly why he hates the WEF and the UN and what the globalist agenda is. Okay. Yeah, no, this is a guy who's tweaked on, I don't know, Alex Jones and Nick Fuentes video compilations that he sees on his TikTok, and he's just trying to do a shitty job regurgitating what he saw. Okay. He's just shittily repeating the same memes. It doesn't take much to be relatively successful on the right, obviously. And this is probably proof right there.
Care about France. They don't care about your culture. They don't care about your religion. They don't care about your history. They don't care about anything about you. All they care about is using you as a vehicle to advance some worldview they have. Never listen to any of them. If it was up to me, they would all be defunded and probably just made illegal because they're effectively government organizations that are working against the people. That's it. I would never fund a single cent. That's what I would do. These international organizations that want to complain about human rights have no...
I mean, he ain't even wrong as far as the World Economic Forum goes. It's just not what he thinks is going on. You know what I mean? Or even with the United Nations in general. It's just funny that he's like, yeah, these guys suck. They're trying to advance a globalist agenda. Okay, what do you think that is? It's a global capitalist agenda. That's what it is. That's what it is. That's it. Is he saying NGOs are government organizations? Oh, you're right. I think he's talking about like UN and stuff. I don't think he means like Amnesty International or whatever. I don't think he's reached that chapter yet of the memes. Yeah. The agenda of the World Economic Forum is not implementing global socialism. It's continuation of neoliberal domination, an extraction of natural resources from the global south. In many instances, it's kind of funny that these like otherwise liberal people turn fascist because it's like the current neoliberal order has unironically benefited them. They just don't like the inequality that they experience at the domestic level. It frustrates them. But like low key on a global scale, that has been tremendously beneficial for them. But you know, don't worry about it. Let's not. We don't need to let him in on that reality. You know.
They have no loyalty to anything other than their ideology. They have no loyalty to any group of people. They have no loyalty.
What's their ideology? What's their ideology? What's their ideology, man? What is the ideology of the World Economic Forum? Brother copes so hard about being significantly less intelligent than somebody known as Roach King. Are you talking? You're saying, okay. This is one of those things where you're like, you should probably be embarrassed to say that. I'm not necessarily a very intelligent person. I say it all the time. But like in a lineup of like normal people, if you were to bring both of us up and be like, this is the brilliant guy, you got to listen to this guy. I don't know. Chatter is the coworker that you guys basically avoid at the lunch break because he constantly is wanting to show you all the different memes that he sees on the internet. Look at him coping, dude, in real time. It's gaming o'clock. You're a little late, bro. I didn't realize we're at 7 hours. What do you think the World Economic Forum's ideology is? OS paradox. Since you've luckily learned all of the real news from the Roach King, surely you can completely dominate me in real time. I, after all, am a stupid socialist. Well, I'm pretty centrist being Canadian. That's not what I asked. Oh, God, you're Canadian. Conservative. In air quotes, conservative. That's not what I said. Come on, brother. You can at least Google it. Come on, I've given you enough time. That's so fucking stupid. Now do you feel like you're in the spotlight? Are the lights too bright? You having a hard time? Clock's fucking ticking. Come on. Come on, centrist conservative Canadian or centrist Canadian. It's so funny because, like, I already gave him the answer, but he was too busy fucking hornily typing this out. So he didn't hear me. You asked me what my political alignment was, and I told you, no, I didn't. I said, can you explain to me what the global agenda is of the World Economic Forum, or what the ideology is that Asmongold is pointing to with the World Economic Forum? I don't give a fuck about what your personal political alignment is. Listen. God, Canada is a Anglophone country for the most part. No, I know there's some Francophones there, but I'm pretty sure you're capable of understanding the English language, especially when you're encountering a person whose second language is English. You should be a little bit smarter than this, no? Go ahead, ask ChatGPT. Come back and copy paste it. Imagine coping and seething this hard. Oh, brother. All right, brother. I'm not even going to ban you. You're not even fucking worthy of a ban.
To any country. They have no loyalty to any culture. All they do is sit around and complain. Human rights? Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, yeah. Do Canada so redneck? They're lucky they have Quebec. I asked a very simple question. Let's dig deep. Let's dive a little bit into this supposed ideology of the World Economic Forum. Imagine if I find out as my coworker Monday, if this is how you find out. You probably saw the signs, you know? Also, centrism is not a political alignment, you fucking dipshit. Address the Bulgarian butt lift allegations, please. I will never. U.S. Senator Mitch McConnell's assistant or staffer wrote this because Mitch McConnell can't type, let alone walk. The intellectual backbone of the conservative movement is only as strongly as the values it defends. Last I checked, conservatives should feel no obligation to carry water for anti-Semites and apologists for America-hating autocrats. But maybe I just don't know what time it is. Well, you don't. And you also can't draw a clock because you're demented. You have dementia. Ted Cruz had that line too. He blasts Tucker Carlson's defense.
Now is a time for choosing. Now is a time for courage. If you sit there and nod adoringly.
I mean, dude, he's at the 40th Republican Jewish Coalition. It's just, there's never been a better moment for anti-Semites. I swear to God. If you are an anti-Semitic right-winger, oh my Lord, dude, look at this. You could just be like, see? That's it. All you need to do is point. It's not even wrong. Like, what Ted Cruz and all these other dipshits are saying is not even wrong. Nick Fuentes is anti-Semitic. It's just that I fear a lot of Americans are also on that same wavelength, especially on the right, and definitely even on the left too, nowadays. But what's so funny about this entire process is Tucker Carlson is the spiritual successor of the right-wing movement.